Aloha, Karen Hudes, here formerly from the World Bank, and that is a fascinating story. Welcome, Karen. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Let's cut right to the chase here. With the departure from the World Bank, what exactly happened there?
I was retaliated against for trying to do my job as a lawyer and keep people on the straight and narrow. And the part that was the most surprising was the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations. Senator Lugar had written 3 letters to the World Bank saying, don't fire this lady. He had also made sure that there was legislation to protect whistleblowers because one of the accountants had reported that the World Bank was overcharging the borrowers, and that accountant was fired. And of course, Senator Lugar knew that you can't have that kind of shenanigan in a bank.
So you actually blew the whistle on the World Bank when you reported these anomalies in accounting.
Oh, I was blowing the whistle very hard in a very alarming problem because the German executive director had told me that the board was being sidelined. He said they were treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and covered with fertilizer. And I knew from a very accurate, it's called a power transition model, that we were risking losing Germany as an ally. And fast forward, their military helicopters buzzed the U.S. consulate in Frankfurt, and the Germans asked to repatriate their gold that was being stored by the Federal Reserve, and now they're refusing to share intelligence information. We are about to lose Germany as an ally. This is very alarming.
Right.
And I was warning the Senate in 2007 that we were running the risk because of this power transition model, which is 90 to 95% accurate. I also warned the Treasury Department that we were going to lose the right to appoint the president of the World Bank. That was in 2007, and that's exactly what happened in 2010. Now the U.S. Is no longer allowed to simply handpick the president of the World Bank. We had, for 66 years before that, had something called the Gentleman's Agreement, which is now over. That means we lost our leadership position.
A lot of people don't see a relationship maybe between the World Bank and the United States and even the Federal Reserve. But they are connected in different ways, aren't they?
Absolutely. The World Bank stands in the very center of the international financial system. One of the connections is that when the World Bank issues bonds, and it has $180 billion worth of bonds on the capital markets, there's something called the National Advisory Council, which has Ben Bernanke and now probably Janet Yellen, if she's confirmed as the new chairman of the Fed. She's one of the oversight bodies for the World Bank. The Securities and Exchange Commission, that NAC is chaired by the Secretary of the Treasury. And so what we're having here with the corruption that I'm reporting is I'm actually reporting state capture of the capital markets. I'm reporting that the Federal Reserve is breaking the securities laws. I'm reporting that there's insider trading so that anybody that buys bonds or securities on the capital markets is just picking up the pieces after the Federal Reserve has finished their insider trading. I'm reporting the fact that the United States is losing its credit rating because of this state capture. And as a matter of fact, the Chinese have lowered the U.S. credit rating, and I understand that a new credit rating agency called the Universal Credit Rating Group, which has Russia also as one of its shareholders, they're going to be reporting the U.S. credit rating in the springtime. If we don't get our act together, if we don't clean up this corruption that I'm reporting, we are going to be in a very tight spot.
This is all very abstract to the very average person out there. How is this going to affect the average person in their everyday life?
It's going to affect them a lot. Right now, what we have is something called fiat currency. That means that we pay interest on our debt. And if our credit rating is affected, we're going to have to pay a higher interest rate. That means that there isn't going to be any money left over for education, for health, for roads, for any of the expenditures that you're supposed to have as a country. Infrastructure, we're not going to be able to keep up with the rest of the world. And one of the things that's very likely to happen is the Federal Reserve note is going to crash, because at the moment, no other country they're starting to unload, because we've been doing something called quantitative easing. That's just a fancy word for printing too many dollars. And at the moment, the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are no longer going to be using dollars when they finance their international trade. That's 25% of international trade. That means that the United States leadership in the financial world is going to be, it wasn't just that we lost our ability to name the president of the World Bank. Now it's much more serious, much more serious. And I just asked, there was a town hall meeting for General Dempsey, the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff for the military. I asked him how he's going to protect the United States security interest with a weak dollar. He didn't answer my question on. And the thing that people also ought to realize is that I've been working with a group of whistleblowers from all over the world. And so it's not just something that I'm reporting. I'm just part of a group. And one of the things that, if you want to really understand what's going on, just read The Wizard of Oz, because it was written by Frank Baum, and he was trying to warn people not to have the Federal Reserve Bank. That came in 1913. That's why he was writing The Wizard of Oz. And what the whistleblowers are like is, we're like Toto the dog. We're pulling the curtain back, and you can see the wizard. Who's the wizard? The wizard is the Federal Reserve Bank and also the other central banks that are members of something called the Bank for International Settlements. And the thing is, you don't have to have currency where you're paying interest on it. The best thing to have is just the dollars issued by the Treasury Department. That was what John F. Kennedy was about to do.
Now, speaking of whistleblowing, you recently took action and called the House Parliamentarian Tom Wickham, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. It does involve us and our action here at articlev.org. Can you tell me a little bit about how that went and what motivated you to make that call?
Well, the reason that I thought it was important to do that is because our founding fathers understood what we were up against. They were up against the very same crooks. I realized that it was very important for the people to fix what's broken, and the founding fathers gave us something called Article 5, which says that the state legislatures, if 2/3 of them ask for it, we can have a constitutional convention. And so when I found out, and I have found this, I've understood that that in 1929 was when Wisconsin was the 34th state to ask for a constitutional convention, and we didn't get one. So I've been talking to Congress ever since I was fired illegally, and actually Congress has done a couple of things. One of the things that they did was when they appropriated a capital increase, they put a rider on there. They said they wouldn't disperse the capital increase for the World Bank until the effects of retaliation against whistleblowers had been eliminated. So I wanted to get Congress to do the rest of the job and to give citizens the chance to clean up this terrible corruption, which is about to lower our credit rating.
You see some opportunity in a convention, even with those powerful entities out there. Why aren't you afraid of these powerful people taking over a convention and completely screwing us all over?
Well, it's just that I believe we're, what can I say? We were given the power as citizens to do our job. And the only reason I'm so confident that we are going to do what's necessary to take our country back is because I've been talking to all these people. They've been talking to me. I've been writing all of the capital of the states. I've been in touch with the governors. I've been in touch with the attorneys general. I've been in touch with the sheriffs. the county executives. My county executive, Ike Leggett, was elected as the president of the County Executives of America at a conference in Texas in July, because people were writing in to the counties to say that we had to take back our country. As a country, we are absolutely at a fork in the road. We can take the high road, and we will have our allies around us, and we will look for a very bright future. Or we can be passive, and we can just let it all happen, and what's going to happen is the dollar is going to crash. It's going to crash, and we are going to end up as a third-rate country. And there's no reason why we wouldn't take the high road.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today about this issue and other issues. And I appreciate your help calling up the House Parliamentarian especially and nudging them to take action on our request to get a verification and tabulation of applications for an Article 5 constitutional convention from state legislatures. And I hope that other people also take a look at that and encourage their congressmen and their senators to also take a look at that and take action and acknowledge states and their power. I really do appreciate your efforts in helping on this matter and helping to inform everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Aloha.